Welcome to Rio and Friends, the fearless chat show with a dose of humour and reality. Today we're talking silver linings, life over 60 in the UAE. I have some fabulous guests with me today who have a plethora of interesting stories to tell and share. So let's get to it. Let's meet our guests. Our first guest is a friend of mine, Lisa Uton. She has been in the UAE for a very long time. She's a trailblazer. She is a restaurateur. She's worked in hospitality for many, many years. And she now coaches men, women, and corporates on living their best life, on mindset and abundance. So she's going to bring a lot of amazing things to the show. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Rio. Thanks for having me.
And next we have Gregory Gottlieb. Gregory is a fascinating character. He's been in the UAE again for a very, very long time. He's a former British Army officer, 20 years. He's now also the chairman of the Airship Association and the head of aerial platforms at World Mobile. And Gregory also runs his own consultancy firm. And he is also a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. We'll get into that later. But in later life, he also moved into acting and voiceover work. So welcome, Gregory.
Thank you very much, Rio. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have the lovely Elaine Wolfenden. Hi, Elaine. Hi. Elaine is a devoted mother and grandmother. Again, she's been in the UAE for a very, very long time. She's a former newsreader and she's a well-known voice and face on the UAE scene, doing lots of acting and voiceover work here. And she has a wonderful life philosophy, which I personally love, and that is always seize opportunities and learn from failure, as it's the key to building true strength.
Absolutely.
Welcome, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
So thank you so much for spending time with me today. I know you're all incredibly busy. One thing that you all have in common is that you've been in the UAE for a very long time, right? Well over a decade. Elaine, I think
27 years, yes. Came
Wow.
for 2. Lots of people come for 2. But
We all say we're coming for 1 or 2 years. Swear we're going to go back. That never happens. Well, for most of us at least. But, you know, that's the common thread. And so I'm really curious to know, why are you still here in your 60s? What is keeping you here? Because a lot of people kind of leave as they head towards retirement. So who wants to start?
I love living in the UAE. I mean, I've been here for about 20, just coming up to 20, apart from a year in the middle when I was in Riyadh. But it's become my home. I don't think it would be easy to live in the UK again. I might try it eventually. But I visit the UK, which is where I'm from. But no, Dubai and the UAE in general gives me a solid physical base from which to explore the region, to travel more widely. And it really has become home. All my friends are here, so what's to go back for?
Yeah.
And for me, a lot is to do with family as well. I had a son and a daughter who came in age 8 and 11. And my daughter got married later on in life, and then she's come back and she's had a child here. He's actually now coming up to 10. So I have family here. I have family in Australia as well, who also lived here. So we move about a bit from A to B, but we, always come back to Dubai. This is where we reside. But yeah, it's more to do with family, and I think Dubai is changing a lot in that respect.
But family is true for me too, because my son has just started his own business here, having been living here for a couple of years. And he's getting started. It's going really well. He's actually doing better than I am at the moment.
Yeah.
Young energy.
So family, you love UAE, it's your home. And Lisa, what about you?
For me, it's a little bit different because I have a diverse background. So I born in New York, as you can tell, New York mouth, but 25 years, I would say New York mouth, Caribbean body, 25 years in New York, where I got my education. And then I went on, it was a conscious decision at 24 to move to the Caribbean because my family roots are there. My mom is from St. Martin, so we're French and Dutch. We're actually the smallest landmass in the world. that has 2 countries, so it's a little strange, but for everybody else, not for us. And then I started my career in the Caribbean, and then I decided, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, it's time to move on. I did everything I came to do in 20 years, and I just felt for 37 square miles, of which 17 I lived on, because 17 belongs to the Dutch side, to the Netherlands. I said, but I'm French also. I said, it's time to move on. And just miraculously, something happened that said Dubai, and here I am. It's 17 years now, and agreeing with both of our friends. The safety and security for me, the family, the friends, I do have that everywhere, but I just feel good here. I don't have to watch my back when I go outside. I used to have a schnauzer, which you know, Lola, and to go out 4 o'clock in the morning when she's older and they have to go, I don't have to look twice where I'm going. The quality of living is so good here. Yeah. And you just feel, and social, you know? Okay,
you
Caribbean and New York. No. Or somebody's inviting you to a dinner or a lunch, or there's a show. And I love Dubai for that, because there's 10 different things going on every day. You cannot get bored at all.
And I think as well that you're right about the safety issue for me. And a lot of people, as they get older across the world, are worried about their safety, also their health. I've had 2 new knees, I've had operations on my feet, all very successful. People assume everything always happens in their own country or the UK, but people who are born here, they die here, they marry here, they divorce here, all these things, just the same as anywhere else in the world. But for me, it's also about work as well.
Yes.
I can still work here.
Amen to that. If I could just add to that, it's funny that you say that, but I have to remember when I go back to, because we're desensitized in reference to safety, don't keep your purse on the shopping cart in the grocery store.
Oh my God, tell me
about it.
Don't
put your bag down, don't put your phone down. And here you just
reminded.
feel so beautifully relaxed, and you don't have to think. I could leave my phone here and come back tomorrow. They'll say, oh, did you leave your phone? You know, even public transportation, everything is just so you'll get it back. I had a couple that lost everything in a car. They were on vacation, and they came crying, we lost this during the World Championships. I said, no problem. They looked at me like, what? I said, you'll get it back. And they're like, what? Next day, the taxi called. They got everything back. So, yeah I love Dubai for this.
Do you feel that whenever you travel and you come back to the UAE, as the plane is landing and you get your bags, does your nervous system go,
Yes.
Yes.
It does for me. Does it for you?
From the moment we
feel calm.
hit the
I just
plane,
feel safe and happy. It's like my
yeah.
happy place for now.
Yeah.
I hope it stays that way.
It will.
But
I'm sure it will.
I don't see that I'm 66, and I don't see that my age actually makes any difference to how I feel being here, coming back here at all. And when I first came here, I was 38 when I first arrived. My experience is no different. I feel no different. I'm still got friends, I still socialize. I've had lots of nasty things happen, the same as anyone else in the world. But I can still do some work and stuff, so it feels no different to me, you know, talking about the age thing.
Speaking of,
But,
sorry.
No, I mean, no, what were we going to say?
I was just saying, speaking about age, you know, times have changed. And I really think, I'm sorry, 60 is like the new 40.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. But I mean, look, going into, you know, we're all something similar there, right? So safety, it feels like home, family, opportunities. And that's all wonderful. But I do want to talk a little bit about the challenges that uniquely, I know you say, you know, age is just a number and things like that, which I totally agree with. But I'm sure there are things that you face that I'm not facing in my 40s that you're facing in your 60s. Challenges, perhaps. Or maybe I'm wrong. But I would love to kind of delve into that a little bit. You know, being in your 60s in the UAE, are there any unique challenges that you feel that you're facing?
Well, I mean, it's not a challenge, but people seem to be extremely surprised to discover my age. And it's bizarre, even in social situations. You know, I have white hair. People actually think I dye it, which is extraordinary. You know, I've never dyed my hair in my life, except when I'm acting.
It is brilliantly white.
Well, it is brilliantly white. But I meet people and they say, you know, how old are you? And I say, well, how old do you think I am? And they say, you know, 48, 50, 55, maybe a bit more than that these days. I'm a bit aging. But for a long time, they used to say 45, 50. I say, no, I'm 60, 63, now I'm 65. And they're really shocked. They assume.
People didn't stay that long though. You know, when
No, well, that's true.
came to the UAE, they were coming here because they had specific professions. And it was usually the men that came and they brought their wives along, and the women might go home in the summer. But now people are older here and staying longer. And we used to laugh about people of our age coming over when my children were young. They used to say, "Oh, the white hairs are here. The white hairs are here for the holiday." And now we're the white hairs.
Well, but it used to be the case that under UAE law, you had to leave the UAE when you were 60. You couldn't be employed after 60. I have a good friend who's 82 years old in full-time employment. He's an amazing guy, but he goes to the office every day. He's got a senior position, but he works on a working visa, and he's, I think he has a golden visa now, but age is no longer a limitation to work here. Absolutely. But I think there are still people who are younger, in their 20s and 30s and not so much 40s, who assume that because of all of the publicity that Dubai gets, Dubai is for young people. It isn't. It's for all of us as well.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you were asking how it felt, maybe people's attitude towards us. Sometimes I do feel that people are very respectful. Certainly the Emirati culture is very respectful to women and to older women, and it's wonderful. But sometimes people think, well, oh, you're over 60, so you're old. Then do have a seat. Let me open the door. I mean, it's very nice, but
so they
sometimes
start speaking louder.
Yeah. Things like that. But maybe that's the same for everybody who is over 60 anywhere in the world.
By the way, do you both know about the blue nil card?
No, what's that?
There's a blue nil card I discovered the other day. Yes, if you're over 60, you can get a blue nil card, and it gives you a discount on everything that you can pay for with a nil card.
That, guys. Come on.
Please, can you share that app?
Yeah.
I got into I think it was a bird wildlife centre in Sharjah a few weeks ago for free. Because I was over 60, and my husband,
and Global Village too.
Do we need to get them to sponsor this segment?
So I had a real shock the other day because I didn't know about the Blue Nil card and I didn't know about the discounts you could get for age. I went into a park and I got my 10 dirhams out or whatever it was to go into the park. Can't remember which one now. And the guy said, "Hang on a second."
Sorry.
But I said to the guy at the counter, one ticket, please. And he said, "Hang on a second. Are you over 60? And I said, "Yes, why?" "So it's only 5 dirhams for you." Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
There you go, guys. If you're over 60 and you don't know about the blue nil card, you need to get yourself one, okay? You heard it here first.
I am downloading before we go.
But are we showing our age, you see, because we're not talking about, okay, which club are we going to tonight? We're talking about the distance.
Oh, we can talk about that too.
Can you imagine? But you know what's funny? If I can add to that about people thinking, once you're 60, and Dubai is changing, so it's very progressive, very happy. There's a very young energy here, so you want to stay and keep fit and work out. But I have a twin, I'm a twin, and he called me when we turned 60 and he said, "You need to leave." I said, "To leave to go where?" He goes, "Don't you have to leave Dubai?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Really?" So I sent him even the retirement visa thing. And I said, "You can come." I said that to him. So people don't realize.
So that's a misconception you would think that some people have.
Yeah. He said, "What are you going to do?"
As soon as you hit a certain age, you have to go.
Yes.
And that's actually false.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, there you go, guys. You've learned something new today.
Yeah, I'm a member of an acting and media agency, and for some of the things that I apply for, it used to say up to age 30, and I used to get quite angry about that. Only age 30. Now it says up to 90.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Things are changing.
Fabulous. I love that. Oh, God, I'd love to have a 90-year-old on the show.
And I was going to say, don't you find people are taking more care of themselves?
Yes.
And especially in Dubai, because there's so much, of facial, this, nails, hair, eyelashes. People are taking care, so you don't look before like you were churning the milk and milking the cow, and because things were harder then. People looked older because they did less, but they did harder work. But now everything is automated for us, and we have a little extra time, but we're doing more. So like you had a senior moment because our brain is trying to catch up with our thoughts. But on the whole, Dubai's really young energy, and it keeps
And I guess you can feed off that,
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to be sitting in front row Fashion Week looking like a cow. So you know what I mean. You stay active, you stay, right?
Although I have to say that my next door neighbor in the next apartment to mine, he's a personal trainer, and I avoid him like the plague. Because
I can hear you
he
opening
is
the door.
desperately keen to have me hire him. And,
I mean, to
no
be
thanks.
fair, I'm in my 40s and, I'm noticing changes. I don't know when you started to notice changes, but things just ache a little bit more, and I'm more mindful of my health. And, I have a child, and I'm very mindful of living long for him as well. You know, if you were to give me some advice, or people in their kind of 30s and 40s, a little bit of, I'm not saying you're, you know, experts on health, but is there anything you regret, or is there anything you would have done differently, or anything that you've done to maintain the wonderful sort of shape and people you are today?
Well, I may have something to say that you ladies might disagree with, but I think people worry too much about their health. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, my grandmother lived to the age of 94. She drank gin and smoked cigarettes all through her life. And she was perfectly fit and healthy mentally, and she just decided she'd had enough. Okay. But I think the thing, yes, it's important to have some basics. Take exercise, watch what you eat a little bit, don't drink too much. But beyond that, each of us is different, and it will affect each of us differently. And so I think you have to be relaxed. I mean, after all, happiness is a choice. Absolutely. And so
stress is one of the biggest accelerators of aging.
Yeah, absolutely. I live a life of stress. I mean, I'm under the most horrendous stress all the time. And, you know, we might get into that later, but the reality is that I choose not to let it affect me. And yeah, I take a blood pressure pill every morning. I mean, at my age, most men do. But it's fine. Everything's under control. So just chill, I think. By the way, can anyone here do CPR?
Yes, of course.
I actually played golf, which I started quite late in life. I never thought I'd play golf. It wasn't something I ever really thought about, but I went along to play golf. A lot of my friends were leaving. That's something about the region where people come and go, and most of my friends have left. They come back now because their children remained here or came back here after university, and they've got grandchildren, so they come back at Christmas and different times. But I took up golf, which I absolutely love. But I play with a lot of younger people. And it really doesn't matter, but you know what, when I go in that golf shop and I look at the outfits, then I do feel old. I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, can I wear that short skirt? I do have wrinkly legs. And yes, looks do matter as we age. You're much more aware. Yeah. I'm much more aware of how I look. I'm trying really hard all the time to look younger without looking stupid, you know, and that's the truth. You know, that is the truth. They say grow old gracefully. And
or disgracefully.
As you get older, you feel different from when you were 20. Yeah. And here it's all about looks and youth and salons and stuff like that.
Yeah. So but Elaine,
I battle with that a bit.
I think we all do. I mean, I'm in my 40s and it's starting now. Like, you know, you get seen as being over the hill when you're like 38. I'm like, what the hell? Really?
But I have to tell you, Elaine, I remember very well doing a job with you, an acting job, where you were playing my wife and I was playing your husband. And for that job, they thought they hired you because of your age, but they thought you looked too young.
Yeah, they did. They actually thought I was 60 and not 66. And they said, could I look a bit older? But they thought 60 was old anyway. But I think they wanted me to look 75.
They wanted to put you in a purple
made me up like him.
And a flowery dress. Guys, this is not what 60 looks like these days. 60 is fabulous. 60 is sexy, isn't it? Like, come on.
It's actually going to be quite a lot of work, my age, because there aren't that many of us in media and that can act. And in fact, acting is something I wanted to do when I was very young, but I ended up with an internship at radio, so I didn't get into the acting. And I've done radio, TV, everything but acting until this last 2 years. Now I'm 66 and I'm doing it.
So how many stage husbands have you had?
You're not the only one, darling. I wanted to touch a little bit onto that, actually, like sort of evolution as we age, evolving, career changes, pivoting. You know, all three of you have got quite a colourful kind of career background. You haven't just done one thing.
And Daddy didn't say past.
Yeah, no, you know, it's ongoing. You haven't just done one thing, you've evolved, or there's a common thread maybe. I'd like to know more about that, because I do think that, you know, a lot of people feel scared to take that leap into perhaps a new career direction, or if they've got a passion for singing, for example, or they feel they're talented, they have a talent for acting, but they have a fear of being judged or failing. What advice would you give those people, and tell us how you did that, like your first kind of career pivot?
Well, my first career pivot was when I was 38, so quite a long time ago. And that was when I decided to retire from the army and start afresh. And I was very lucky because I was able to leave the UK, go live and work in Germany for a German company. And through that job, which lasted about 4 years, I moved into another area, which I then was able to exploit and move into that area. So I started working for an American company, nearly moved to Alabama, but my neck is white, not red. So I decided that I wouldn't. But Alabama was a lot of fun to visit. But no, I didn't move there. But and so I've actually made at least sort of 4 real career changes. The first one being the military, but then I went into aerospace, and then I went into security, and then I went into business management and compliance. And you know, I've done acting and voice work, and not only voiceovers, but narrations and audiobooks, and
you've definitely got the voice. But Little Dicky Bird tells me that you also dabbled in opera singing.
Yes, I mean I trained as a bass baritone as a teenager, but apparently I had a singing teacher, but I also had master classes with an extraordinary lady called Madame Vera Rosa, who used to spend her time between New York, Paris, and London coaching all the leading opera singers of the 60s and 70s. People may remember Dame Janet Baker was one of her students, and so was I. And so I had a voice, and then I had to make this sort of binary decision when I was 18, join the army or be an opera singer. And I had a relative who was an opera singer who said to me, look, unless you're in the top 200 in the world, you'll never be able to buy a house. So I joined the army. I did buy a house, but it now belongs to my second ex-wife.
Oh,
so,
do you regret that decision, or do you think that was
to
the
buy
right
a house,
decision? No,
or to marry my second ex-wife?
To give up opera singing?
No, I don't actually, because I would have had a wonderful time as an opera singer. I would have loved it. Yeah, but the opportunities that I've had, I try to never regret decisions, because I've made a lot of very swift, rapid decisions in my life, off-the-cuff decisions that have changed the entire direction of my life, and they've all led me into more interesting spaces.
There you go. Never regret.
I agree that I feel that being over 60, I think something in your life changes every 6 months that's out of your control. So regret is a pointless emotion, whatever age you are, because the past is history, we don't know the future, and we've only got the here and now. Yeah. I think in answer to your question initially, I started changing and diversifying when I was 40, so there you go, so for you. Yeah. When I was in Dubai, being in Dubai a couple of years, I was working as an art technician for a while at a school here, which gave me, I didn't enjoy it, but I'm very creative and artistic, but it was a very menial task for me, as I'm quite the leader kind of person. But it gave me an insight into the culture and the sensitivities of Dubai. So then I was able to get back into radio, which I trained in the UK, and I headed up 2 news departments because I knew about the sensitivities. So that opened more doors for me. Then I started making my own videos. Then I got a bit fed up of that and thought, what else should I do? I'm very creative. And I did an interior design course for 2 years. And then I wrote a children's book and lots of different things. But what I'm saying is that being scared of doing that, well, I'm a very outgoing person. I'm a cup half full person. For someone cup half empty, that might be harder. But you know what? It's just make that jump. Just try and make that jump. If there's something different you want to do, try it. It may not work out, but you can try something else. And that's the beauty of here. There's so much opportunity.
There is.
Absolutely. And Lisa, what about yourself?
I was just, you can't have fear, because just jump in. And believe me, the height of my career in the Caribbean, as you mentioned, there I was on like 29 boards of directors, but I was president of tourism, president of the Chamber of Commerce, president of the hotels, not all at the same time, but maybe 3 or 4 at the same time. Then doing the radio show on Sunday, and then I had the 3 restaurants. So I was always spinning.
Dubai Ladies
and I do,
Run as
here
well.
I am the co-founder with the president of the Dubai Marathon. We started the Dubai Women's Run, and that's when we met, because I was in the same office working. They were helping me.
Yeah.
But there's always changing moments or pinnacles. And I think that you need to be open to receive and take inspired action. And this is what I teach now, besides the emotional intelligence with my company, soft skills training. But people have to, you can't just wish, because a lot of people are manifesting, but you got to take the action. You can't sit back and expect that, oh, it's going to come because I said, I'm rich now, I'm rich now. No, it doesn't work that way. And I hope we'll touch on that, because I would like to give some people some tips. But yeah, and I do say, we didn't get to me before, but about the youth and everything, I always say every morning in the mirror, you know, I'm timeless and youthful at every age, but you have to believe that. And you have to look in your eyes while you're in the mirror, because it's projection, right? I'm timeless and youthful, but I feel great. And, you know, there are days I feel like I'm crawling to the gym, but after I'm done, I'm like, wow,
you
I feel
good. So good.
You feel pumped.
Once
so
you push through that
I do 6 days a week, but I don't do Wednesday because it's Brazilian butt and I have a butt. So got rid of that. And then after Zumba, I'm Latin, so I'm Zumbaing in the house anyway. So that's my recovery day. But as far as diet, I mean, water, even let's say I drink a lot of water, and I don't do sugar, dairy, meat. Imagine I own steakhouses, meat and gluten. So I try to stay away from that. I'm not like, you know, if I go to someone's house and they go, you know, you have some people, I'm vegan, well, whatever. If I'll find something in the buffet, I go easy. You know, there's salad, there's, you know, whatever. But I think, it's a state of mind. And I think, So
you said you wanted to give some tips. The stage is yours. What are the tips then for people that may be
really
fearing?
Quickly, there's a lot out there. There's a more conscious awareness now of people and energy and frequency and vibration. So I get chosen to speak at a lot of events. I have more than one career. So my website, which is the Abundance and Manifestation, and then my other company is called, I'm a director for Caribbean, Africa, and the Middle East. It's called EHP, Enhancing Human Potential. So we're around 30 years. So what do? We teach soft skills to companies like Reuters, Bloomberg, Deloitte & Touche, hotels, restaurants, many, Chanel, I shouldn't say, well, Chanel, everybody. Why? How do I communicate with you? How do I communicate with my family? How do I communicate with my staff? How does my team communicate? So we work with very big companies here, because you can learn the physical, but the emotional intelligence and the EQ is so important. Even real estate agents, we have over 80,000 real estate agents in Dubai, in UAE, but only 10,000 are selling. Why? Because they're not in the connection of, how do I sell him? His communication style is different than yours. Not personality, communication style. So I work on that, because I think that your best asset for any business is your people. So it's been very successful. That was like another pivot. And that was serendipitously how I kind of fell into that, because I was training already in St. Martin. So look how the universe, I will say, does things. So just to tell you, my mom's in medicine and my dad's an engineer, but I wind up having 5 degrees, but I used them all. Isn't that funny? I went straight to school from the age of 18 to 24, university after university after, finished interior design is one, by the way. And I use it. But the thing, we use psychology, I use the interior design, I use the accounting, because you have to count, right? Now I'm into financial technology, teaching people how to invest.
What you're saying is that everything, although things might be different, has led you to where you are now.
Yes, 100%.
Because you couldn't be a mindset coach if you didn't go through all those things.
And have my psychology degree.
Yeah, and have your degree.
I hate to say coach.
There's a thread.
Yeah. Because I feel like I deal with the traumas first before you get to the because I think, forgive me, I think they're amazing coaches, but we can't put a Band-Aid on people's thing. You have to go under, what is the issue? Who told you you weren't worthy? I had a client now. She's lovely, beautiful. But I said, who told you you weren't worthy with your child? She just yelled at my mother. Because now she can't even bring the money to herself, because in her mind, ages of 0 to 8, this is the most important time where you have that learned behavior from a child. Everyone you see in a white shirt, we don't like them, let's say. So everybody you learn, when I see them, oh, I don't like it. Like kids with dogs, some cultures, when they see you with your dog, they're freaking out. And because they learn from a child.
So you're saying if you learn early, then when you get to our age, it's beginning to be right inside you. And so you can use those.
But it's interesting.
I think, no, it's gradual, I think, as time goes on.
I have a question for you, actually, because I think you have more degrees than the rest
All of us combined.
No, that's nothing. That's just...
But the reason I wanted to ask is because I have a dilemma at the moment, aged 65, going to be 66 in November. People are saying to me, oh, you need to go and get more qualifications.
Why?
Exactly.
I
And
went
so,
to the University of Life, I have to say.
Yes.
right.
But if you want to,
well,
you can.
Yeah, but for
But
what?
if you do-
I mean,
what?
exactly.
And may I say something? Even in the US, I don't know about UK but we have what we call life experience credits. So for what you've done in university. So because you're older and you've done this, this, and this, they give you the credits because there's only so much you can learn from a book.
So of your 5 degrees, what was the most recent?
The last one, I was
And
25.
how long ago? Oh, you were
I was 25.
Oh, okay. So you really stopped getting more qualifications at 25.
I was the youngest
Same
one
here.
in all
I
my
mean,
classes because my mother said, don't stop. If you stop, you'll get,
But I also think
you don't want to go back.
I also think that my mum went back to university in her 40s because she wanted to.
Yes.
Oh,
And if you're
that's
60,
fine, yeah.
65 and you decide you want to go back to university, you can.
Yes.
But as a business owner, I don't necessarily look at someone's written qualifications. I look at their
Me too.
skill set, their experience.
Me too.
And I think especially here,
Yeah,
you know,
but here's one of the challenges that I've faced because I've kept reinventing myself. I'm often in a situation where I'm in between jobs. I'm still doing my acting and voice work, but that doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
system, really.
But I need to get a job. And so age 65, how do you go about getting a job in the UAE?
Yeah.
Because all of the CVs are now sort of automatically filtered by AI and all the rest of it.
Yes.
And to get to meet somebody who's going to interview you properly for a job is a real challenge. And I think I mean, I know I'm sort of answering my own question, but it's all about networking and
I was going
personal
to say,
contact.
who you know.
Yes.
The
That's
only
exactly
jobs.
what it is.
Age 66, and,
Right.
and I think he's an architect, but he's actually gone beyond that. He no longer designs, so he tries to find his design ability in other things. But he's got a job, age 66, and he was worried he wouldn't find another job. And it was because of his age, because of his experience. And I feel, as you were saying, with all the things that we've done, I've done a gazillion different things since I was 40. Some things I've kept with, some things I haven't. But all those things come together
They
to
do,
make
yeah.
me who I am and to have experience. So I think at our age, we have experience here that we can give. So the company has taken him on. They don't care about his age at all.
Yeah.
And they've put him on their health. We've put me on the health because he's got the experience to bring in business. He knows lots of people here.
That's brilliant.
And I think, and it's the same for me, age 66.
Yeah.
I've got experience in lots of things. I help students actually in Australia with their news reading and editing via LinkedIn on my, Dubai. I sit in Dubai via LinkedIn. I don't get paid for it, but it doesn't matter because it keeps my brain going. Because that's another thing we need to keep the brain matter going. We know as we age that will go a little
Yes,
bit.
but don't say, if I can say that, because I'm the energy one, you are getting paid for it, because you will, because you're giving back.
Well, I am
The universe will
getting
give you
paid
something
for it
back for it, yeah.
in my own way. Yes,
Yeah.
I don't mind because it's stretching my brain. I'm helping those students, and that to me is fine. If they wanted me to go in every day for 6 hours a day, they'd have to pay me. But it's a different thing. But what I'm trying to say is, I haven't been to any universities. I've gone to the University of Life. Still managed
didn't
to head
go
up
to
the news
university
department.
either.
Yes.
And I think that's age, and that's the good thing about age, and what hopefully more people will recognise and not pigeonhole us necessarily into a group. I mean, we're all in our 60s for this show, but there are women's groups and groups here for over
Just
60s.
over 60s,
I don't
yeah.
go to those because I want to talk.
But I feel like that there's so many women's groups, which I think is fantastic, but sometimes I want to go network with men as well, and I want to hear about men and their mental health, and I want to go to more events where we're mixed as well, mixed ages.
Okay, you can all come to Rotary Club with me. It's more men than women.
Is that
I was
right?
going to
I'm
ask
there
about that.
32 years.
So you're Rotary.
Since I was chosen at 24.
Okay, so my father was in the Lions Club, which is similar to Rotary,
Yeah.
isn't it?
We're a little biased, but yeah.
Okay, and I'm not in any of those
Yes.
things, and so when I try to network here, from a blank sheet of paper, the opportunities are limited. It's quite hard for an older person to get into proper business networking if you're not a member of.
Well,
Yeah,
can I
you
just
have to
say
be sure, yeah.
something? Can I just say something? Like, we can all learn from each other. The younger generation can learn from the older from the younger generation. I think all of you, as people in your 60s, are very, you're active on social media. Like, you're posting, you're doing your YouTube, your TikToks. Your TikTok went viral.
Yes, I did a YouTube course recently, which was to learn how to monetize on YouTube. I'm not actually monetizing it, but I've learned about it. And when I was in Australia recently, I was walking down the road, there was a sign, it said, over 50s seniors, come join our club, learn how to use an iPad, play dominoes. And I was thinking, hello? You know, maybe not everybody can. Why do you have to go to those groups to learn? But now I've gone and I've learned more about it. And then I decided to post something on TikTok. I just went for a walk to get a Galaxy ice cream. Should have tagged Galaxy on that. Round to the local mosque shop. I live in Jumeirah, which is, you know, still quite Arabic. Walked to the local mosque shop in the dark, came home, just put it out there. I didn't even edit it, maybe just one little cut. And
it went viral.
It went absolutely viral, and it's still going. But people
I'm
love
gonna
it.
look.
You know, you're all kind of embracing, we can get, as we get older, we get a little bit stuck in our ways. Do we agree?
Yeah.
We like our
Yes.
routines, but you're all kind of stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. You continuously do that. You're trying new things. And I think with you for your networking and stuff, really utilize social media. It is a really good platform to connect. And if it doesn't exist, create it, Gregory.
No, that's true. I mean, I've tried things like Internations, and I've tried a few other networking things that happen in Dubai. But the problem is, most of the people are very young, and most of the men go there because they want to meet women.
Okay.
And a lot of the women go there because they want to be taken out to dinner
Okay.
and free drinks.
Yeah.
And that's
Not what you were looking for.
At this stage of my life, that's actually not what I'm interested in. I want a good conversation.
Because we're both single, aren't we?
I didn't know
so
you were
that's a
single.
nice-
Is there something happening?
Can I have your phone number?
Yes, you can.
Is this going to have to be a dating show, guys?
You missed what he just said. He said, "Can I have your number?"
Oh, I love that. Watch this space. Watch this space.
So funny.
Different
No,
to my
we're not
age,
that-
though. At the same age, my husband and I are both 66, and we think very differently.
Yeah.
He's just started a new job, but he's thinking, well, I'm 66, why am I still working? And, you know, he said to me the other week, you know, I've got 10 years at best left in my life.
Oh,
And
come on.
I see it very differently.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, when he retires, I said, what are you going to do? I don't know, I'll probably read a book, probably go for a walk. That is quite an old-fashioned way of
limited
thinking.
mindset.
Whereas I'm thinking, well,
See the
what I
world.
wanna do.
See the world,
But,
yeah.
you know, a lot of people are conditioned to think that children think that. I mean, my grandson, who's coming up to 10, thinks I'm 100. He actually does. And he pulls my sleeve up and he looks at the wrinkles and he shows me, you know. And he thinks I'm really, really old. And so still children are conditioned to thinking that when we get old, we sit in a rocking chair, maybe do some knitting. I think he's quite surprised at the things that I do.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a Rubik's Cube video with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, had a little go with him.
And I think it's cultural because my parents are still traveling. 84,
Yeah.
87, still.
We had a little bit of a Zoom chat before today's show, and one of the things I said is that, sorry, Mum, if you're listening, but my husband's parents, who are in their 70s, and my parents, who are in their 70s, there's a stark difference between their lifestyles, what they're doing, their mental health. And I think one of the biggest things is my husband's parents, they're active. You know, they go for a walk after their food, they travel, they read a lot, and, you know, they have a sense of community. So they're always kind of seeing a friend, or, you know, going for dinner with their neighbours, or having family get-togethers. Whereas my parents, it's very different. It's more of a kind of sort of a negative mindset, and there's some other stuff going on there. But, you know, the being active, both mentally, physically, even spiritually, wasn't there, you know. So do you think that community plays a big role in your happiness in your 60s here in the UAE? And how have you kept friendships? Because this is one thing that I see a lot in a lot of the groups, Facebook groups, is people talking about how lonely they are.
Oh, wow.
That they can't make friends. And obviously it's transient here, right? So there's gonna be a bit of that. But do you have any advice for sort of new expats who want to build friendships?
Well, first of all, I think it's becoming less transient than it used to be. I think more people are staying for longer. I think that's a really good thing. But I also think it's really important to step out of your comfort zone. I mean, I spend very small proportion of my time mixing with British expats, frankly. I've got some great friends who are from the UK, but most of my friends are not from the UK.
Yeah.
And I make a point of taking advantage of the fact that we have 200 different cultures living here.
Multicultural society.
And so you know, variety is the spice of life. You've got to mix and match and have a group of friends who are comfortable being varied in their backgrounds, in their thinking, in their cultures. And it also helps you to learn more about the world. And that's one of the things that I love about living here. You see all the cultures that exist every day, and you learn more about them all the time.
There's nothing quite like the Arabic hospitality, though, as well.
Well, Arabic hospitality is great, but hospitality is great from other cultures as well. And I think that's one of the great things. I mean, in fact, one of the very first things that happened to me when I arrived here, you know, nearly 20 years ago, is I came here working for an American company supporting the UAE military on equipment stuff. And the then captain, who was my host, discovered that I'd never been to the UAE before, or to the Gulf, and he immediately arranged for his troops, he and I, to go and have a meal in the desert. And they killed a lamb and made a pit and put charcoal in the pit, and then did a proper traditional desert feast. It was the most wonderful thing, and that really was the catalyst for me deciding to take advantage of every opportunity to learn as much as I could, not only about Emirati culture, but about all of the other cultures.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But to make friends, I would say my advice would be to acquire new ones as well. Because I keep in touch with friends through social media that move back to the UK or their home country, so I'm always in touch with them. So they come and stay. We've got some coming next week. So that's very nice, and they keep coming back. But here, you have to keep on making new friends. So it's the same as anywhere else in the world. As you get older, the only thing you can do, I mean, when people lose their spouse, you know, in any country, they must be very lonely. You may have family, you may have grandchildren and children around, but if you don't, which is quite typical here on the whole, when you get older, then you have to maybe join a golf club. Do something like this, because look, I got to know Rio doing a course. Now I know you. I worked with you. So it's joining things, maybe joining groups. People sometimes put on Facebook and stuff. You know, my 50-year-old mum's coming out. Whatever is she going to do? Well, I say, well, she's only 50. She can do the same as anybody. You know, she can go to a craft market. She can go on the seafront. She can ride a bike. She can do so many things.
Much.
But it is a case of thinking it's not about age. It's about whatever age we are. We still have to remember, friends aren't going to come to us. We have to go out and make them.
You've got to be intentional.
We have to.
I totally agree with that. So immersion in cultures, different nationalities, be intentional. Lisa?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think maybe because I would say Caribbean culture, we have that sense of community that I actually never thought about it when I came here, and it was just like a natural progression. I didn't worry about it. And it just came. And I think when people put a lot of worry in it, they're not open to receive and meet other people. I think it has a lot to do with your background. You're very friendly, you're friendly, maybe your family was, my parents, my dad would walk up to the waitress, we're looking for him. He's asking her, how was your day? Do you like your job? And that's how we are. So I think if you're open, if I might mention someone else from my home, she's amazing. She was here for a short time, and someone said, she said, oh, if I stayed longer, I'd be where you were because you know so many people. And the person corrected her and said, no, you have two different characters. Lisa's more open and you're more close. So I think people have to practice on just being a little more, hi, how are you? Whether you're in the gym, I have a gym group, I have a Saturday group, Monday group, Wednesday group, Tuesday group, Thursday, Friday. It's different people. Yesterday we did a birthday party for the guy on the bike, the main guy, and we had balloons, but it's, like you say, who you know, you need to connect with people.
Someone who's very shy.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's going back to getting out of your comfort zone.
That's what I said, no fear. Just jump in.
So it's the same at any age. So I think what I'm trying to say all the time is being 66, as for my body, that is definitely changing. You know, I physically had to have new knees because of arthritis, because I was older, and hereditary things. And yes, I'm aging. Physically, I'm aging, and I'm seeing that happen, and I struggle with that a bit. I definitely do, like I said, but I think at any age doesn't matter in terms of making friends and getting on here. And as you say, more people here are older now because they're coming back. to be with their children who've remained here and had their own children here. And so now the government is encouraging retirement here for that reason.
But it's not only to be with their children or to retire. I think an increasing number of older people are trying to start again here.
Yes.
These are people who've maybe been divorced in Europe or North America, and they are looking for a completely fresh start in their 50s, maybe in their 60s, and Dubai allows that to happen.
Well, Dubai offers the dream,
Right.
you know, and this is it. You have so many cultures here, so many people here. I don't feel old. I mean, if you look at my friend base, some are 39 for her category. I actually don't even think about the age.
Yeah.
I have not, yeah.
Well, I had an experience. I got into musical theatre in my 40s. I decided that I wanted to be in a musical theatre show, and so I made it happen. And I remember having a discussion with one of the ladies there who was a teacher. I hope she's not listening. And she wanted to, her dream was to get into acting. She wanted to get into acting. And I said to her, well, you can do it. Don't be silly, I'm a realist. You know, her mindset was I'm a realist. I'm a teacher. Like, I don't live in La La Land. And I was like, well, I wanted to be in musical theatre in my 40s and now I'm doing musical theatre. If you really want something, you can do it. You might have challenges. You might have some challenges, but if you immediately tell yourself, no, I can't do it, then of course you're not going to be able to do it.
But things can also change in your life, not because you've decided to make them change, but purely by chance. I had never considered getting into acting, ever, or voice work. It was just not my thing. And my wife, who is Turkish, had decided that she wanted to try acting. So she signed up with one of the agencies and was going to go to her first audition. She asked me, would you come and help me, because my English isn't perfect and I'm just a little nervous about it. So we went to the audition and a casting agent came to me and said, oh, are you here for the farmer's part? And I said, no, I'm here to support my wife. And they said, oh, that's such a shame, you'd be perfect.
You'd be fabulous.
Will you audition for it anyway?
Yeah.
I said, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
And they said, it doesn't matter, you'd be fine. So I said to my then wife, what do you think? Do you mind if I do it? She said, oh, go on. I got the part and she didn't. But that's not why we, went our separate ways. But
That's what you say.
yeah. But no, I mean, that's how I got into acting, and it happened quite by chance. And I had such good fun on that
But
first
you took
shoot.
the opportunity.
I did.
Yeah.
I always
You
take
jumped,
the opportunity.
take
You have to take
opportunities.
inspired action. I keep saying that, yeah.
Because the universe presents these opportunities
Yes.
to you, not by chance.
Yes.
Exactly, but sometimes people see things in us that we don't see in
In
ourselves.
But sometimes it's a balance, though, isn't it? Because I have a daughter here and a grandson here, and I have a son in Australia who used to live in Dubai, and he's now in Australia because he trained as a vet. And in those days, when you train as a vet, you have to be qualified for 5 years to train here, to practice here. So he ended up staying there, so we go there a lot. So I've got a granddaughter there as well. But, I'm trying to fit in other things alongside my role as a grandparent and a mother, which to me is a very important role for me. And watching my grandson grow up here, he was born here, so for him, he feels like he's Emirati. And so it's a bit of a juggling act, like people who go to work. When I was working on news, early morning breakfast shift, I had to juggle the children. It's quite difficult. And that's why I left for a while, because I was exhausted, So you have to find balance. You can't be all things. But even
100%.
now, as an older person, there's a balance between doing these kind of fun things, doing bits of acting, doing presenting and making videos, and seeing my family and seeing them at the weekend, picking up grandson from school. That's another thing. When you get into your 60s, things turn around. You suddenly watch your children, if you have children, having their children, and you put car seats in the back of your car again. You're doing all the things you did when you had children all over again.
Yeah. I think everyone's unique, everyone's different, Our lifestyle might not be for someone else, and that's fine. Some people love one thing and they do it really, really well and they stay on that path, whereas others evolve, change, pivot, and then some are in between. And like you rightly said, some of us have families, children, and I think one great thing about living in the UAE is access to help, because we are without our families. and we are without our parents to kind of, many of us, grandparents. I can't just call my mum, can you look after
No, I know.
can you look after Kai while I go and, go on a date with my husband? No, like the help that we have here is fantastic and accessible, and that's one thing.
Totally agree.
And our friends become our extended family.
Exactly.
Yes, they do.
Me, we're not having my parents here. When I was bringing up my children, we had no extended family. So friends became very, very special.
Yeah, my next door
Absolutely.
neighbour is like literally, she's the family we choose, right? As expats, we choose our family here.
Yes.
But I think we've had a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I am going to ask you all a very quick fire question, okay? And so just, naturally tell me what comes to your mind. But the question is, it might be a bit of a cliche one, but if you were to give your younger self some advice, say you're like my age, 40s, right? 40. If you were going to give 40, 30, give some advice, what would it be? Key takeaways.
I would say right away, because I think back, I didn't have the balance, so I have no children, but I'm very okay.
Yeah.
Is to say not to stress, because what is your destiny is going to happen anyway, and just relax, surrender, which I never knew how to do really too much because I like to control. Just surrender. As long as you do the right thing, and you surrender and you're kind and you give back, everything comes for you. And I stressed too much back then.
100%.
I look younger now than I did then.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly similar theme, but I think take advantage of every opportunity that is put in front of you, even if it doesn't last. Even if you take up a new sport and you don't like it, take it up, try it. Take a new career move if it's offered to you. Try different opportunities. Never say no to something before thinking about it, because by thinking about it, you might say, well, yeah, I'll give that a go and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because that opens opportunities that lead to more things. It's like a decision tree, it just keeps growing.
Care
Totally
less
agree.
about what other people think
Yes.
as well, maybe.
It's not your business.
I
What people think of you.
care
Yeah.
nothing about what other
Yeah.
people
And
think.
that's what I
Can't you
love
tell?
about older people.
Yeah. Doesn't bother.
Elaine.
Yeah, I'd say to myself, don't worry so much about the future, because like I said, it's not happened yet. And to remain true to myself always.
Authentic.
Always be honest. It might make you some enemies, always be honest. And to definitely take opportunities and not to worry if they don't work out. It's not failure. It's what helps you to grow. Sometimes the scary things that happen in life and things that don't work out, if you lose your job or something for a while, you just have to brush down, pick up again. Something will work out.
Absolutely.
100%. Again, a common thread there. Don't be scared to fail, take on new challenges. It's been such an honor, really, to have you all to talk to. I feel like I've learned so much and I'm going to leave, I'm really inspired. So I hope you've had fun as well and enjoyed
Thank you.
the show.
So good.
Yes.
And I might have you all back on individually, who knows? But if you enjoyed the show, please make sure that you leave a little comment below, like, share, spread the word, and stay tuned for the next Rio and Friends.